We now move on to the panel discussion, which will focus on mitigating challenges of data management in today's time. For the panel discussion, it is my very deep pleasure to welcome Shri Sanjay Kolte, CEO, Pune Smart City Development Corporation Limited from Maharashtra, Mr. Golok Semali, who is the Chief Technology Officer, Passport Seva, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, Shri K. Rajendran, Joint Director, Infra and Communications, Information Technology, Electronics and Communications from Government of Telangana, Mr. Vikas Sharma, who is Superintendent Engineer, Chhattisgarh State Power Distribution Company Limited, Sumit Garg, who will be joining us shortly, Senior Manager, Department of Governance Reforms, Government of Punjab, and Mr. Rajesh Nair, who is India Sales Head, Cloud Management and Cloud Health Business, VMware. I welcome you all, sir. And I now hand over the stage to Mr. Rajesh Nair, who will be moderating the session. So over to you, Mr. Nair.
Thanks, Priya. Golok sir, can you please switch on your video? I think Mr. Rajendran and Mr. Sumit are ready to join us. Hope they'll be joining. Right, okay. I mean, it is indeed a pleasure to be part of this eminent panel. Once again, I welcome Mr. Sanjay Kolte, IAS CEO, Pune Smart City. So welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to
Hello,
the
good
discussion. Let me welcome Mr. Vikas Sharma, who is the Superintendent Engineer of Chhattisgarh Power Distribution Department. Welcome, sir. Let me welcome Mr. Golok Semali, who is the CTO of the Passport Seva, part of Ministry of External Affairs. So welcome. Right. All right. Okay, sir. Probably Mr. Rajendran as well as Mr. Sumit will join us a little later. Let's get going with this panel discussion. Sir, before getting into the questions, what I probably have to ask you, do you want to share a few words about how an organization look for a data center modernization, which actually brings benefits the organization itself? Maybe with that, we probably will start off with the questions. First to Sanjay sir.
Yeah, thank you. See, data is of prime importance, and the governance and the administration at the center of it is the data-driven solutions which we ultimately provide to the citizens. That is the main objective of city administrators, or for that matter, smart cities also. But now, when we manage data, the key considerations for the city administrators are like the data centers which we have will be capable to handle the volume of data which the system or for other local body or the smart city or whatever volume of data is being created, whether that will be able to be handled by the data center or not. The geographic diversity or the location, the kind of location or structure of data center which we are going to have, like whether we will be having the mirrored data center approach or not, that is another consideration. Then the time that will be required to come out of an outage, if due to some reason there is an outage in the data center operations, the time required to recover from that is also a consideration, as the capability has to be built up on those lines. The space required for the data center is another key consideration. Then whether we will require to have a private data center or co-located or managed service is to be opted for. This is also another option which generally for the administration has to look out for from the data center point of view. Speaking about Pune Municipal Corporation is the major stakeholder in this, and Pune being the second largest city in the state has a huge data handling and processing and collection for that matter. Pune Municipal Corporation has already gone for cloud data centers, and they have the mirrored data center approach, having centers in this Mumbai and Nagpur. So that is the highlight of this, I would say. By going for the cloud data center, some of the advantages which we have already noted are that these cloud data centers, we have found them to be customizable and scalable as per the requirements of the ULB and its data requirements and the requirements of the various stakeholder departments and the services required for the citizens. The potential to customize things is better in the cloud environment, and that can be scaled for as we go ahead when the complexities of the working are increasing. So scalability is also found to be quite significant in the cloud approach. Considerable security, desired security of data and operations is also achieved by the cloud model, and proper security measures are possible. Data transmission is also proper and secure. Cost-wise, comparatively, cloud data centers have been found to be cheaper than the physical data centers so far, as far as the experience goes. So these are the few words I would mention about the data center approach for governance.
Sure, sir. I think that was indeed a detailed one. I'm sure you have done a lot of study and assessment as part of this. Thank you for sharing it. Let me move to Mr. Vikas Sharma with the next question. Sir, I understand that you also started the data center modernization with virtualization. You have got a lot of applications there. You have got a lot of servers as part of the data center. And I'm sure you started enjoying the benefits of the virtualization or consolidation. What are your next steps at? What are you planning to do as part of the next phase?
Rajesh, let me brief you. I am coming from a distribution background, power utility, and it is a strategic sector as far as the government norms are concerned. So we are having a lot of data in our data center, and we started our journey way back in 2004. And we were the first government utility to implement the ERP, SAP ERP. We implemented way back in 2004. And at that time, we used to have the standalone servers. And as the time passed away, the growth was humongous. So we were facing very challenges for being faced. Every time the server has to be changed, or data migration was a big challenge. So as a part of the journey, we started with a very small sector, a small part, and we moved to this VMware solution. And to start with, we have moved some of our applications to this virtualization, and about 30% of our data is now moved to the virtualized platform. In coming years, we are planning to move the business critical data, that's SAP ERP, also to the virtualized platform, because we have seen a lot of benefits over the virtualization. So we have experienced a good number of advantages. So in down the line, in few years, we would be moving our SAP ERP to a private cloud. And in next phase, then we can move to our public cloud.
Excellent, sir. So I could make out from that you are trying to do automation, orchestration, and monitoring pieces getting added as part of this, so that it can be converted as a self-sustained data center, which is nothing but private cloud, right, sir?
Yeah, very true.
Excellent, excellent, sir. Let me move to Mr. Golok Simle. Sir, can you please switch on your video? Hello, sir. Welcome to the panel discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Sir, how are you doing? All good?
Yeah, doing good since pandemic and a lot of work from home and pressurized work by government going on everything. Still everybody is open in government sector. We are working strongly, but so many things. So doing good, sir.
Yeah, sir, today's agenda is just wanted to have your help to share your success story, which some years back you started data center modernization with a proper private cloud. So will you be able to share your success? What are the benefits and how is it helping you in total for your entire IT department, sir? Can you please share?
I just put crisp on this. Earlier, now we have, you know, that every state started with the traditional data center with tower and rack, individual servers. So we built a data center with some 40-50 racks. It was running. And you know, the computerization is the demand current scenario. Digitalization is so high. So traditional servers are occupying so much of place, and you know the challenges in that. Then we move toward last few years we are working towards virtual based solution and move to software defined data center. So we after we move to software defined data center, almost to around 50-60% of our data center, we the SDC is very agile and optimal and very efficient. So very main focus now, whatever the application we are hosting, we provide good infrastructure and satisfaction to our department. You know, everything is computerized nowadays. Any certificate, whatever you need, common services, enabled. You know that Telangana, MISA, everything 24/7. Those centers are running. So many applications is online nowadays. After this last 2 years, the requirement is so high. To meet that requirement, the virtualization is played very important role, and many citizen-centric applications is running satisfactorily. That's what our journey towards virtualization.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing your success, sir. Let me welcome Mr. Sumit Garg, who's a senior manager from Department of Governance and Reforms, Punjab. Sir, can you please switch on the video and unmute yourself? Priya, are Mr. Golok and Sumit are able to hear me, or are they still on?
Yes, they can hear you, and we just bring across the message.
Yeah, thank you.
Just switch on the camera.
Golok sir, are you able to hear me? You are on mute now.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining. Sumit, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to the panel discussion. Let me ask the next question to Mr. Golok Simle. Sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Mr. Rajesh. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Sir, I understand that you have initiated your data center transformation little long ago, because you are part of the Passport Seva Kendra, which is at most a critical point of touch for every citizen of India, application wise, data wise, content wise, uptime wise, availability wise, right? So, and I'm sure it is a pretty decent stage of data center modernization you have done. And I also heard that you have initiated a Cloud 2.0 as part of your priorities for the upcoming year or this year itself. Can you please elaborate a little bit more on that, sir? How do you make sure that we get our passport in a day's time or few days time from months on this part, right? And I'm sure technology support you to do this as well. Sir,
yeah, thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Let me at the outset thanks Elates for having me here. I also greet all my co-panelists who are part of this particular panel. Now, quickly coming back to the point, Rajesh. Two things. One is, as far as Passport Seva program is concerned, as you rightly said, no, we have gone ahead much more compared to if I compare vis-a-vis with other kind of a parallel setup within the government, because it's not only in terms of technology deployment, but in terms of creating the overall ecosystem running in the Passport Seva program. Not ministry alone, but other stakeholders. When I say stakeholders, all the dependencies, other stakeholders. When I say stakeholder, like police authorities, India Security Press Nasik, Department of Post, my whole global embassies and consulate across the globe, they are also now integrated into the Passport Seva. And on top of that, the good part of Passport Seva program is that citizens are feeling connected. Citizens and beneficiaries. It's not me or my team or my management is to tell, but it is the citizens who is telling that, okay, there is a ministry, there is a government who responds. There is a ministry who listens to the citizens. There is a a department who takes cares of the citizen in terms of service delivery, in terms of grievance handling, in terms of raising any issue with the concern with the passport related services. And how have we done that? How have we done that? That is the most important part to understand. Now, we have taken 3-4 kind of a prong approach. The first and foremost approach was, how do we reach to our citizens at the remotest part of the country? Now, when I say reaching citizen to the remotest part of the country, we adopted 2 approach that we call hybrid approach. The first approach is how do we reach them digitally? And the second approach is how do we make them aware and kind of bring them part of the ecosystem so that there is a interactive kind of a responsive kind of a system is working. So this is the approach when it comes to reaching to the citizens. We adopted that approach. The second prong approach was, since there is a lot of silos, lot of gaps, lot of opaqueness was there in the system. So we our approach was how to we create a kind of a transparent and accountable system when you are dealing with the citizens, right? So that was the second approach which we adopted. Then the third approach was naturally, how do you do this? All of these, if you want to achieve, how do you do this? Then we realized that the only way to do this is by digital means, right? And today what we are discussing is, when we are discussing on the digital, again, there was a journey which we kind of started with. We started with digitization, then we moved towards consolidation, and then probably we moved towards automation, which we all are discussing today. Now, even if I talk about the data center part or cloud part, the problem what we do, Mr. Nair, is you suddenly attempt into a automation or maybe hyper automation stage, wherever your backend is not ready, wherever when your process mapping is not ready, where your entire digitization and legacy is not taken care. How is that you are attempting into automation or hyper automation, which we are discussing today? And today, if you ask me, we are at a stage where I am able to leverage this kind of a cloud, multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, whatever way I want to, multi-tenacity of the cloud, because I am at that stage to leverage that, right? The other area which we also must look into when we are attempting this kind of a new and emerging technology is, while we are leveraging this technology, the other 2-3 points which we terribly miss is we do not understand our data well. We do not understand our data strategy. How do you deal with your data? Do you have really, do you really have a data strategy, in terms of dealing your sovereign data, non-sovereign data, public data, personal data of the citizens? And if you ask me, really, most of us, we do not have a data strategy. How do you deal with the data, citizens' data, right? The second very important part is when, again, we are attempting to this kind of a cloud journey or hybrid cloud way, or let's say kind of a big data kind of exercise. The problem is on the regulation, compliances, your rules of engagement, your manual, your land of the law. And there, as I said, unless you understand these 3 areas, your people part, your technology part, your processes part, and then probably the holistic overall ecosystem at large, then if you do not understand, as I said, this 3-4 areas and approaches, then moving towards a kind of a hyperscale data center or cloud away or a hybrid away, so that what citizen is needing, maybe 24/7, maybe kind of a full, reliable, secure, all taken care. It's very difficult to reach there. The last thing I'll also touch upon, saying that we are also now moving from cloud journey towards application containerization. right? Now, when I say application containerization, meaning to say that can I create
Sir, can I come back on that point, maybe the next portion?
so yeah, so quickly so that no, because I have to go for a meeting. So on the
Yes.
application containerization, Mr. Nair, what we are actually doing is I'm creating various variants of the application so that now suppose I am dealing with sitting you are in Delhi or Mumbai, uh, and someone, let's say, accessing from a remote village of, let's say, Jharkhand or Odisha or something kind of that. Because here I have full-time bandwidth available, I have all sort of access and kind of a facilities available. Vis-a-vis, let's say, a person accessing from a remote village, they will not have those facilities. So can we give a variance of the applications and the access and authorization, and which is possible, which I am doing from my data center based on this containerization principle and application modernization. And that's why my application is, that is why it is so agile to deal with. It is so kind of a flexible to deal with. But then, as I said, you can only attempt all these things provided you have come a long way. You have a maturity level available. That's how I put up, Mr. Nair. Thank you.
Thanks, Golokji. That was indeed a little more deeper about the insight. You rightly pointed out that don't just run behind cloud, but ensure that your backend is ready to accommodate these new technologies you invite into the system. And similarly, you said that you run the most critical application in this country, which you said you would wanted to make it as modern as possible, as light as possible, as secure as possible, as close as the end users, whoever, the citizen of India. And you said that you will make it more smaller versions, which is microservices, or in another word called as containerization. Absolutely, sir. That's a great thought. And I'm sure VMware is in support with you in all your journey throughout so far. And I'm sure moving forward as well, we should be able to support you to ensure and achieve whatever you are planning right now, sir. Let me move to Mr. Sumit. Sumit, can you please switch on the video? Maybe the next question. Okay, Sumit, I do understand, like rest other all eminent panelists who were talking about that they have already built a data center, right, which is as good as a private cloud for them. And I'm sure you are also almost 2-3 years started off virtualization and are there having a most efficient data center as part of your data center as well. So can you please share some of the successes you achieved, some of the benefits you got by doing all these transformation?
Okay, so let me just summarize what state of Punjab is doing. So we have our own data center set up here at Mohali. This is in Chandigarh. So we have around 42 racks, and we have around, let's say, 600 TB of storage being taken care, and around, let's say, 1,000 core servers here, like the core processing power. So we also use private cloud. We have Amazon and Microsoft. We go them, but we mainly use Mighty's empanelment for that, so that we do not flout any rules with respect to the data not going outside India. So we also have our in-house software development team, which is looking after the CI/CD implementations. We are using Jenkins on a very large scale for continuous integration and continuous development. So that is happening and on a very large scale. We use for some of the projects. We also use the services of private vendors for bespoke development of softwares. Okay, so we are also modernizing our data center. Something like I would like to share, it may or may not be exactly relevant, but what we have found out from our analysis is that states should have their own data centers. We opting for private clouds has proven costly for us. And as per our analysis, if we disregard the let's say the real estate cost, because that is already there with the state, if we disregard that cost, the cost of the cloud is coming out to be 40% higher than if we have our own data center. Plus, we also had 1 or 2 instances when the vendor played havoc with us and stopped our services just because one of the payment was delayed in government. Sometimes delays happen, sometimes the bills are not cleared or they are delayed, but services should not have been stopped. And it was our own Seva Kendra's service throughout the state, it was closed. So due to these some of these bitter experiences and the cost wise, we found that it is always better to go for your own data center services. So that is why on those lines we are still using private cloud, but only for very, very critical services or the ones that would require a significant amount of downtime for them to shift it over data centers. We are ordering new servers, new storages. We use VMware at a very large scale. I think about 90% of our data center is using VMware. So we are very, our data center is ISO certified. It's a tier 2. We do not have the higher tier as of now, but that is in the planning, but it requires a lot of time. Another thing that we are doing is our DR is not, let's say, not set up as yet. It's there, some of things, the critical data that we have moved to clouds as a precautionary measure, but we still do not have a full-fledged DR site for us. We are working on those implementation also. It's very expeditious. We have decided to go for government services in the DR rather than going for a private, just considering our experience with the private cloud. So we also, just like to add that we are also working on the enterprise architecture, basically to have a single architecture, single shared database, like the common database tables would be shared across the departments to share the information across all the applications that we use. Like because Aadhaar data we cannot use, but a single citizen would have a single serial number, a single unique number across all the databases that we use, and it will be internally shared between various databases. So that is still in implementation. Some part is like still not implemented. That's more around.
Thank you, Sumit ji. So it was indeed an eye opener for many who's attending the session. But yeah, I do agree with that. Every state, so far I have worked with almost every other states in the country, has got a private cloud already set up over there, considering the facts which you have highlighted over there. But at the same time, many of them are looking for public cloud also as an option, just benefits for certain business and certain needs or certain availability or an on-demand stuff coming about. Thank you for highlighting that point. Let me get back to Sanjay sir. Sanjay sir, you have pointed out saying that you have got a most efficient data center right now running in Pune, and you said that the maximum amount of data is also being handled right over there. And I'm sure it is a different type, different kind of data which needs security, and as well as the application which is actually hosting these data is also part of it. So I just wanted to understand like your point of view on application modernization and in all the security of data, content and application.
Yes. There are certain criteria which need to be taken care of while modernization of the application software used for the data center. First thing is the reduction in the time, or let's say if we go for outcome-based model, so the cities will install their proper infrastructure, whatever is required for giving the services, but it should reduce the delivery time or service delivery time from the citizen point of view. That is another cost. It should again cost us lower cost should be the result of modernization of the application software. Again, the scalability, which I mentioned earlier, scalability of this application for more complex task or more voluminous task that should be possible, and its ability to integrate with new applications, that is also another constraint which we must take care of. Its usability, ease of use is also a very important criteria which has to be taken care of. The services which will be delivered through the application software and the data center should be able to be standardized, so that that can be widely used by various stakeholders and departments, and a faster rollout. After installation of the application software and putting all the things together, the rollout should be faster so that the benefits are being made available to the citizens in a timely manner. So I think these are the criteria which we should take care of while modernizing the application software.
Sure, sir. Perfect. Sir, one more point. I just wanted to take it from you. The security is also, I was told that you have made it a mandate saying that any application which is residing inside, or it is not tend to go out wherever it is, the security is going to be the most prominent thing which you are looking for it. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, yes.
Right.
And that is being properly taken care of. As I told while speaking about the cloud model, I said key security is that criteria is being well taken care of, and security of storage and during transmission, all the things are being properly done.
Sure, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you for making it very clear about availability, making it light, time to be on the market, which could be close to the citizens or other cities or smaller areas. Absolutely. So these are all the most important factor when we talk about a government services offered to the citizen of India, right? Or other government bodies itself. So we need to be on that. And I'm sure VMware is actually supporting you to deliver all these aspects so far. Very successful journey. And I promise that we'll continue to support you on your journey as well, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me move to Vikasji. Vikasji, you have already mentioned saying that you are planning to move from 30% virtualization to 60%, and your most critical application SAP is also going to get virtualized as part of it. So I just wanted to get to know what is your thinking of having a hybrid cloud, which means not only building the data center within our perimeter or within our premises, but also have an extension out somewhere, right? It could be a DR, or it could be an extension of this one, or it could be within the public cloud pieces. So what is your view on that point? How are you going to take it?
Yeah, you rightly said right now we are 30% virtualized, and we are planning to move at least to the extent of the 60% on-prem private cloud. From the rest of the applications, we would be endeavoring for the private clouds, means Google, Azure, and Amazon kind of environment. And right now, our DR is also on-prem and is located in another city. And to start with, we will be starting our journey first of all from moving this DR environment to the private cloud. And once that confidence is built up within the organization, we see this private cloud is our new concept. And I agree to one of the panelists, Mr. Garg, that private clouds are costlier because in government sector, particularly in government sector, the real estate cost we do not have to bear. So we can afford the large sizes of the data center. And since we come from a power sector background, so electricity is almost near to free to us. So the total cost appears to be more for the private cloud. So
private cloud is cheaper for you, right, sir?
Yeah. So moving ahead, we would be having a right balance of this hybrid kind of environment. Maximum or number of applications would be in the private cloud on-prem, and some of the applications where the requirement changes dynamically. Since some of the applications they are required only for the compute is required only for 1 or 2 days in a month. There are some kind of application. That kind of application can be moved to the public clouds, because we can take advantage of that because there is a dynamic pricing kind of thing. And secondly, the smart metering, smart grid concept is being implemented across the country in the distribution sector, and government of India is pushing to implement and is having big plans to implement the smart metering by the year 2025. So there is a mandate also where the lot of analytics is required. Like where the lot of analytics required, those kind of applications would be pushed to the private, to the public clouds. And rest we will be those applications we will be residing on the private cloud and having a hybrid kind of environment.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, agree, sir. Completely in agreement with you. I think that is how every other organization is also looking for, because very valid point you rightly pointed out. We should know what application to reside where. Otherwise, it is not going to give the result what you expect out of it. Absolutely, sir. I am in complete agreement with you. So let me move to Mr. Sumitji. Sumitji, can you please switch on your video?
Yes.
Right. Sumitji, I understand from a Punjab point of view or from an IT perspective, you said you have you have got Amazon, Azure, even if it is a smaller footprint, but still you have got various clouds are part of this one. Now I'm sure you are looking for options or solutions which can actually help you to modernize your application, because you already mentioned about CI/CD pipeline. Jenkins been used to ensure that you are able to generate and come out with much faster way of agile product coming out, things like that. So what is your lookout for an application modernization and security perspective, Sumitji?
So we are working on these things, application modernization. See, but I feel that although security, these things being important, the first important thing is to have everything or the services online first. See, there is a two-way things you can look at it. One thing is let us do things fastly, and let us have like our priority is to have more services to the citizen online rather than go for modernization or application or the security part. Security is important. We are trying to inculcate. We go for the security audits regularly so that there are no major pitfalls in our applications. So that and even our data center has all the latest equipments with respect to the firewall, DDoS equipments. We are purchasing more and more things to secure. But with respect to application security, we only have a backfall on the security audit. Our more concern at this point of time is to have more services online, because we feel that we are faltering on that front a lot. But it is while doing that, see, whenever possible or whenever the technical team suggests, we are trying to go in for the latest technologies like use of containers. We have started with one of the projects, but I have also found that we basically falter. Where we are faltering is that there is a lot of attrition in the software industry. So what is happening is that we are not getting, even if we are able to attract the talent, because as I told you, we have in-house team. So that in-house team basically leaves very quickly. The attrition, they stay with us for 1 to 2 years and then they leave. And recently our the whole data center expert, cloud expert, both the persons left. And we were at a very back foot. So that is why our now priority is to have a generic sort of application for which we have more people available with us, rather than going for the modernized architecture and we not finding the resource pool for it.
Excellent. Thank you, Sumitji. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I am sure by now you have heard from the eminent panelists from state, central, and the PSU talking about how important it is to look for a data center modernization, application modernization, as well as importance of private cloud and having a hybrid cloud pieces comes over there. So all of them, all the eminent panelists who join me today are already started the journey and they're already enjoying the benefits what exactly is coming in. Thank you, Sanjay ji, for joining me. Thank you, Vikas ji, for joining me. Thank you, Sumit ji, for joining me in the panel discussion. Thank you, Golok ji, as well as Rajendran ji for joining me in the discussion. Priya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nair, for a very interesting debate that gives a very wide pan-India view. different governments have had varying experiences with cloud services. Shri Kote said that cloud data centers that come out, they cost as more cost effective in Maharashtra, but in Punjab, Shri Sumit outlined how the state has had bitter experiences. Mr. Simli rightly pointed out that most of the governments do not really have a data strategy, which should be a priority at this time. So it was a very interesting debate. Thank you so much for the discussion.